make sure we have this for David so he can see it, because he said he was going to be a little bit late. There you go. Cool. So you guys, we're going to get started, and then the assistant principal will come when she comes, and then we'll talk to her just like we did with the principal yesterday. Okay? Okay, so if we get the rest of our notes done quickly, then we'll have time to do the last. You'll have more time to do the homework as well, is what I'm thinking. Okay? So write this down. And what else did we say we wanted to remember to have? Do you remember? What was the other thing that we wanted to remember to put on all of our notes? Anyone remember? Yes. And what else? Name is real good on homework papers. Yeah, the date. The date. Notes usually, it depends on your teacher. If your teacher collects notes as individual pieces of paper, then you definitely want to put your name. You definitely want to put your name in your notebook. Okay. So you guys, we're just starting, and then when the assistant principal comes, then you guys can say hello to her. Okay, she's brand new at our school. Okay, so what we're doing today in our last piece is, I believe we only have 2 examples. Let me just double check here. I believe I only have 2 examples for you. Cool. So this is going to combine quite a few lessons that we've done all together. Okay, so you guys ready? We're missing, who are we missing? We're missing Damien. So that's weird. Usually, I thought I saw him come in. Okay, can you guys hear me okay? Can you guys hear me okay? Perfect. Okay, so we're going to be on graph paper again, but you guys already know you're on graph paper. Okay, so we're on graph paper again. And then I know one of you just came in, so make sure you write the title. Okay, and we're just going to have 2 examples on this actually. Okay, but they're kind of long examples. So 2x plus 3y equals 12. But it wants you to convert it to y equals mx plus b and then graph it. Okay, so we're putting together 2 lessons that you've done. Okay, 2 lessons that you've done. Just want to make sure everybody's here. Who else are we missing? Oh, Damien. I wonder what happened to Damien. I know Damien has to leave at 12:40 because he has his registration appointment today. But I don't know why he's not here now. Okay. So how do I convert it to y equals mx plus b? Does anybody remember? What do you think? Do you remember? What do you remember? And it's okay if you're wrong. Oh, good, Damien's here. Yes, yes, that's exactly what we do. So put a box around the y, and then we do what Savannah suggested. So we're going to do one person, and then somebody else answers, okay? So somebody different, where do I put the other negative 2x? Where do I put the other negative 2x? Under the 3y or under the 12? So this was a few days ago. Okay, under the 12. That is correct. And then we wrote ourselves a message so we don't accidentally make that 10. So this we wrote not like terms. Okay, now we're aiming for this. So this yellow. So did we put the negative 2x first or did we put the 12 first? Does anyone remember which one we put first? Because over here, remember these canceled. This you brought down. Yes, we put the negative 2x first, and then we put the 12. So what sign is in front of the 12? Because I need a connector. I need a connector. Perfect. Okay. Now, how do I get y by itself now? How do I get rid of the 3? How do I get rid of the 3? Does anybody remember? How do we get rid of the 3? What do you think, you guys? How do we get rid of the 3? Okay, I agree. Haley, divide by what? Okay, divide by 3. Damien, you're correct. And then what would my new equation be? How do I write my new equation? What does the 12 divided by 3 turn into? Okay, perfect. And then do you remember that we wrote this one? I'm going to show you just to remember, but to format is you kind of put the X in the middle. Okay, and then what formula do we write under it? Now this brings us back to math notes number 20, the one you just did homework on. Okay, so what was the formula? What formula did you just write right before the break? What formula did you write under it? What do you think? Ivan, Isaiah, Alex, Savannah. What was my formula? Y equals mx plus b. Okay. And you guys, the assistant principal is here, so we'll say hi to her as soon as we finish this problem, okay? Okay, so the m. What's the m? What's my m? Slope, I agree. Okay, so you guys, somebody different from Damien? Let's have somebody different from Damien answer. Now for this one, we are going to put the -2 on the top and the 3 at the bottom instead of just in the front. You kind of have to make a choice. Put it on the top or put it on the bottom. Most people choose to put it on the top. Okay, so somebody different from Damien? Can somebody tell me what's the second thing we write underneath the slope? What's the other thing we write? And if you forget, you can look at your math notes 20 because we just did this like an hour ago. Okay, y-intercept, good job. Okay, and then somebody different from Ivan and different from Damien, what's the answer for the y-intercept? What's the answer for the y-intercept? 0, 4. Good job. Good job. Okay, and then what should we put next to the -2 over 3 for initials? What initials should we put so that we know what to do? Okay, I agree. Down 2, and then write it. Okay, so what do you think, you guys? Well, Jorge, it depends. So when I write -2/3 for the slope, if I kind of wrote it right here, I don't know where the negative goes, but if I wrote -2 and -3, a negative divided by a negative is a plus. So yeah, do you agree? Do you like that, Jorge? Do you think it's better, right? Yeah, but you guys, that is confusing. So a lot of students, that's why I have you write down 2, write 3. A lot of students will go down and left, and then it turns out to be positive. So this is not the same. Okay, so write this on the side and put not the same. Okay, so that when you're in algebra next year, that's not going to happen to you. Okay. Okay, so let's you guys, let's say hi to the assistant principal before we graph it. Let's take a little 5. Okay, so her name is Dr. Palma. Do you guys see her in the chat? Dr. Palma. Dr. Palma, where did you come from?
There we go. My mic was off. Hi, guys. Okay. I was a dean in San Dimas, and I was a teacher for 10 years at West Covina High School. So I've only ever been in high school, and I love high school kids. You guys are my absolute favorites. So I keep sticking with it. And so far, I've had an awesome time here at Walnut. And I was telling Miss Nichols that I, was so interested in seeing some kids. And she said, you know what, you can pop into my class. So here I am, and it looks like you guys are doing some really good learning. So I'm excited to stick around for a little bit and see what else you guys are up to.
So what did you teach English, you said?
I did. I taught English at West Covina, English and ELD, as well as intervention. So, just kids that were struggling. So kids who just really need that extra boost. They're some of my favorite humans. So I really like it when that light bulb clicks on.
Oh, we were talking about earlier today in our keys for success, we were making a list, like a long list. I was making them write it down. But for keys to success at the end, you guys remember when we were writing ask for help when you're confused and when you're unsure? And you're stuck and you're not really knowing what to do? You could add Dr. Palma on your list. Where
Absolutely.
she might be able to find you some resources, like if you need a tutor or I was telling them silly things like if you're late to your class all the time, that maybe sometimes you have to not go to your locker between those two classes,
Yes.
So just different silly things like that sometimes needed, and sometimes advice of someone else is important, or what to do if somebody is trying to bug you and tries to plant drugs on you or something. You're gonna have to talk to someone, you guys. Hopefully that does not happen.
Yeah, always reach out to somebody to problem solve. So I'm not sure what grade are we in?
They're 8th graders.
Second
they're not
grade
anymore. Awesome.
They're going into 9th grade, so they're brand new.
Well, when I taught 10th graders, we read this book called Night, and in there, one of the characters says that every question possesses a power hidden in the answer. And so what that means is that knowledge is power. So never be afraid to ask questions, because you gain more power by every answer that you get. Every bit of knowledge that you get, you gain power. So feel free to ask me at any time, your teachers. I see you have the GLCs, your parents. Ask questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question. Just ask it.
And then I was telling them too that, like, with students, sometimes they don't want to ask anyone for help, but I was telling them that as an adult, like, if I get stuck on something, I'll ask my teacher friends, or I'll call my mom and say, hey mom, this is, do I have a fever? I might go ask her, or what should I do? Should I go to the doctor? Or, what my mom's opinion is, or what other people's opinion is. And we ask adults, you're not supposed to do everything by yourself. So make sure you reach out to people that you need. Okay, so you guys, let's go back to our class. And then we'll just finish our graphing. We only have 2 examples on this one. And then what they do is they've been doing homework. So they do homework and then they upload it to my Google Classroom, and then they fix it after I correct it and things. So,
awesome.
So they've been doing really well today. And they ask, I like how they answer questions in the chat. They don't really like to show their faces because they wouldn't show their faces to Mr. May yesterday. If I make them, they do show their faces.
Look, I'll do it.
You'll do it?
Uh-oh. I don't have a camera.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're so bad, Alex.
I got really excited there.
I told them what I did at the beginning is I warned them. So I would tell them, okay, well, you're going to have to show your face in the next time. So then they brush their hair and everything. But I didn't warn them in time. So, okay, you guys, so we're going to finish. So do we start with the y-intercept, or do we start with the slope when we're graphing? I think I have enough room to fit over here. So I think I'm going to draw my graph over here. Okay, so you start with the y-intercept. Okay, so where do I start that one? What are my initials for 04? What initials do I write? And I know I saw in your last homework, you guys weren't always writing my initials, but your graphs were pretty good. So the initials are to support you if you need the help to know where it goes. Okay, so where do I put 0, 4 on the graph? Where do I put 0, 4? You guys, I've been pretty impressed with you that we're able to do graphing distance learning. That's pretty fantastic because your graphs looked really good when you were texting them to me today. Okay, do I need to pick on somebody? Haley, tell me where to graph 0, 4. Haley, what do you think? Where do you graph 0, 4? Yeah, but where? You know, there's a bunch of 4s. You know, there's a 4 here, there's a 4 here, there's a 4 here, there's a 4 here. So which 4? Okay, I agree. How about the initials? This would be right how many? Haley, how many right would that be? Yeah, right 0 up 4. Okay, but she's right. If she just knew that it's supposed to start on the y-axis at 4, that would be okay too. I'll erase this 4. Okay. And then, oh, Dr. Palma, I'm using an Android tablet with the Android pen that comes with it. And then we're recording this for a student who isn't able to come until 12 today. And I'm recording it and then I upload it on YouTube so they can watch it later. And this is a Note. I'm using Microsoft Note to just write. So, and then I do that in my class too. And I was telling the students as well during the school year is I bought a 75-inch TV for my classroom. And so this projects on the TV. They said they like that better than the board. It's like, it's a little more clear than the projectors. So it's kind of how I teach in class anyway, except that I have live people instead of icons.
Awesome.
Okay, so from there, so from there, Dean, what do you think? What should I do after I start here? Where do I go from here? What do I use? You remember what to do next. So we started here. So this was our first step, but what was our second step? Dean, do you remember? I know you didn't practice too many of them. Apply the slope. That's perfect. Okay, so apply the slope. So let's write slope down here. And somebody different, what does he mean by apply the slope? So where was my slopes? Directions. Down to right 3. And then we're going to do that a few times, right? Down to right 3, down to right 3, down to right 3. Okay, and remember you have to start from the 4. Okay, so I'm going to start, I'm going to start from the 4 down to 1, 2. You don't have to draw those dots, but just so you guys can see me going here. 1, 2, 3, right. And make sure you're using the squares. You guys, every square has to be worth 1. Okay, so you're going down. Let me draw it so you could see it. So you're going down 2 loops and then right 3 loops. And you guys, let's double check that I did it right since I made that last example wrong in the other class. And then you guys fix me. Down 2, right 3, so we're good. Okay, and then do it again. Down 2, right 3. And then what was the backwards point? Do you guys remember we did the backwards point? So what was my other choice? What was my other choice? Anybody can answer. What's my backwards? How can I do a backward slope? Up to left 3. Perfect. So I'm going to do that in another color just so you could see it. So from here I go up 2, right? Up 2 squares, left 3 squares, put a dot. And then those should be in a straight line. And then I would like 5 points. I don't quite have 5 points. I only have, what, 4 points? So can you fit another one forward or should you fit another one backwards? I can fit another one backwards. Up 2, left 3. I can fit another one backwards. So I would like 5 points on the homework. Okay, so try to make your graph maybe in the middle and then you have a better chance of doing it. Now, one thing you're going to notice on your homework number 61 that you were just working on the last session is that when I write corrections for you, I'm going to put something that says label graphs. So, or label numbers. And what I mean is that a lot of you likely forgot to put numbers on the x-axis. Now, I do have a number already on the y-axis, so I don't have to put extras. I already have 4 on the y-axis. So you have to label the x-axis as well. Okay, but we'll do that when we do correction. Okay, so try to do it on this one, and then you won't have to fix it. Okay, so tell me when you're ready for me to start example 2. So just type in ready if you're ready. Alex, type ready for us.
Type ready.
I know, but you have to actually type it because I'm counting and I only see 4. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Palma, for coming. Okay. Okay. So how many readies? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And then we're missing the other 2. Okay, let's go. So example 2. And then we're just working on homework for the rest of the period. Okay, we're going to work on 61. And then you're going to also, I'm not sure what number the next one is, but there's another number. Okay, so I'm not ready to do y equals mx plus b. So let's put not y equals mx plus b. So what it's going to tell you is it's going to tell you to graph the line, but you can also graph it with the intercept method, but that's not the method that we're going to be using. Okay, so usually when people want to graph lines, they do the way I'm showing you today. So math notes 21 is the most important of all the math notes. Okay, so what should we do to get y by itself? Well, what should we do to have y by itself? What should we do, you guys? How do I get y by itself?
Minus
Minus what?
3x.
Okay, perfect. Cool. Okay, and then those cancel, bring down the negative. See this negative here? We're going to want to bring that down. Okay, which way do I write it? Do I write it 12 minus 3x, negative 3x plus 12, 9x, 15x? What do I write? I agree. And then there's one more step, and some of you on, I don't remember which homework number, but it was one that we did a couple days ago and I was doing corrections for it. Some of you forgot to divide at this step. So make sure you do show the division. And then you also have to show the answer. Some of you forgot to show the y equals mx plus b answer. Now, negative 3 divided by negative 4 is a negative divided by a negative. So what's a negative divided by a negative? What's a negative divided by a negative? Yeah, so you actually get positive 3/4 x. And then the minus 3 is just because 12 divided by negative 4 is negative 3. Okay, so slope is m equals 3/4, and y-intercept is 0, negative 3, right? Right 0, down 3. That's more the normal pace of a teacher, right? Instead of asking students questions, they're just like plow through. You're like, wait, I'm like 3 steps behind. Okay. Online, just take a picture, like boom, take a picture before, or wait. If you say wait, sometimes, as long as they haven't erased it, that they can show you. Okay. You ready? Oh, I did want to show you something interesting. You know how this is up 3, right 4? And your backwards point is what? Down 3, left 4? Look how interesting your backwards point is for your unreduced fraction. Your backwards point is because when you have a negative divided by a negative, you get a positive. So that's why the backwards point idea works, is because you can either have 2 negatives there and that's the same thing as a positive, or you could have a negative in the other spot. Okay, so we're ready. We're going to start on the y-intercept. I think this is good in case I have to take a picture of this later. So I'm going to put it over here, but I don't know where you have space. Put space wherever you have space. And then the main thing is where to start. People are pretty good at applying the slope. And that was a good way to describe it. Dean, apply the slope. So that was a good way to describe it. Apply the slope. Okay, so where do I start? Where do I start? Where do I start? Can anyone tell me where to start? But which one? Right? So I start at the down 3, and then I use the slope. So what was the slope? Up 3, right 4, up 3, right 4, up 3, right 4. I don't think we're going to make it 3 right 4s though. Okay, so up 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Up 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Down 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Yeah, it's fine, Isaiah, if you can only fit 3 dots. And then I'm missing my labeling. So what do I mean by my labeling? Missing my labeling. So what labeling am I missing? You guys, I'm missing something. I'm missing something. What am I missing? Right? I'm missing number labeling. How's that? Number labeling. What do I mean by my number labeling? Number labeling. I only have one number labeled on the whole graph. So now, do you see how you have a number labeled on the y-axis? You have to also have numbers labeled on the x-axis. So the most common way people do it is just put 1, 2, 3. You can't just put 1 because 1 doesn't look like anything. It looks like a slash. So you put 1, 2, 3, or if you knew this was 4, you could put 4 here. but you have to have at least one number on the x-axis and at least one number on the y-axis. I'm making you do every square is worth 1, but you still have to put what the numbers are. Okay, cool. So we have an hour to finish homework 61 and do the homework that's based on this notes. Okay, sounds good, Haley. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video.